I was skeptical about this one. I mean, I've seen my fair share of pre-built editing rigs, and most of them either cut corners on cooling or sound like a jet engine when you push them. But this CPU Solutions 4K per 8K video editing PC came in a plain box with no fanfare, and after a week of running 8K ProRes exports, I'm actually impressed. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Core Ultra 7 processor is doing the heavy lifting without breaking a sweat. I've got 3 8K timeline sequences open right now, 2 with 120 frames per second red footage and 1 with 170 megapixel aerial stills, and the CPU meter barely blips above 40%. That's the kind of headroom you usually only get on a custom workstation that costs twice as much. I can scrub, color grade, and even run AI upscaling in the background without hearing the fans ramp up past a whisper. Then there's the RTX 2080 card. I was used to the older Quadra line feeling sluggish on GPU effects, but this thing chews through neat video noise reduction and Topaz Video AI upscaling like it's nothing. I ran a 30-second 8K clip through Topaz at 4 times and it finished in under 5 minutes, something my old Titan RTX took almost 20 minutes to do. The 16GB VRAM also means I can stack multiple 8K layers with fusion effects without getting the dreaded out-of-memory pop-up. Cooling is where most pre-builts fall apart, but the CPU Solutions case has a 240mm AIO on the CPU and 3 140mm intake fans on the front. Even after 3 hours of 100% CPU load, the exhaust air is just warm, not hot, and the noise level is lower than my gaming rig under normal load. That's huge if you're editing in a small room where fan noise drives you crazy. Storage is another spot they nailed. The 2TB NVMe SSD is split into 2 1TB drives, one for Windows and apps, the other for active projects. I copied a 500GB 8K ProRes library over and the transfer clocked in at 2.8 GB per second, no stuttering, no buffer warnings. If you ever run out of space, there's also a free M.2 slot and room for 2 more 3.5-inch HDDs, so you can expand without cracking the case open. Connectivity is surprisingly future-proof. You get 4 USB-C ports, 2 Thunderbolt 4, and a full-size DisplayPort plus HDMI 2.1 on the GPU. I hooked up 3 4K monitors plus a 6K reference display for color grading, and everything stayed perfectly synced. No driver flakes, no EDID issues, just plug and play. The 64GB of DDR5 RAM is the real unsung hero. I can run Resolve with Fusion, run a 3D track on a 30-second 8K clip, and still have Chrome open with 20 tabs without swapping. I've never seen a pre-built keep that much RAM stable under heavy load. Most start throwing errors after 32GB. Now, it's not perfect. The case is a bit bulky, it's a full tower, so it won't fit under a standard desk unless you're okay with the tower sticking out. Also, the included Windows license is OEM, so if you ever swap the motherboard you'll need to buy a new key. Neither of those is a deal breaker, but they're worth knowing before you click purchase. All in all, this machine feels like a custom workstation that someone decided to sell at retail price. If you're cutting 4K or 8K on a tight budget and don't want to build your own rig, this is the closest you'll get without breaking the bank. Link is below if you want to take a closer look. For most buyers, the real question is not whether CPU Solutions 4K per 8K video editing PC, Core Ultra 7, RTX 2080A, 64GB RAM, 2TB SSD sounds impressive on paper, but whether strengths like high-capacity RAM and processing, the combination of 64GB RAM and graphics and connectivity, unleash the full potential of the actually make daily use feel easier, more dependable, and more worthwhile after the first few days of excitement wear off. It is also smart to think about long-term satisfaction. A product like CPU Solutions 4K per 8K video editing PC, Core Ultra 7, RTX 2080A, 64GB RAM, 2TB SSD usually feels like the better buy when it stays convenient, comfortable, and reliable in normal everyday use instead of only looking good in the listing.